Awesome. Wanted to start off by thanking you guys for your excellent feedback over the last couple months, last couple years. All of the improvements that we are going to be talking about today are a result of your amazing feedback. So thanks for always, putting in what what would be helpful for you. And the top points that we heard that are going to be shaping today's launch are: you wanted to see all of your upcoming deadlines for both grants and tasks in one single calendar glance. You wanted a more organized way to stay on top of your multi-step applications, such as those funders requiring an LOI and a full proposal. And you also wanted to get alerted directly on the tracker when a funder changes their deadline. For those of you using Salesforce, you wanted to stop duplicating your work and feel more confident knowing your changes in Instrumentl are being synced to Salesforce. And for our consultants and grant writers in the house, you guys wanted a more organized way to manage your clients in your own Instrumentl subscription and also potentially work with clients who already have their own Instrumentl subscription. So as a result of these 4 points, we are going to be talking about a calendar view, improved deadline tracking, Salesforce integration, and consultant plans. We've got some features available on basic and all plans, some on plus, some on professional. Don't worry, I'll make it super clear to you what features are available on what plans as we go through it, and we'll be using these icons to denote it on the slides as well. Be sure to stick around until the end because we'll be sharing some super special summer promos for our Plus plan. And you'll also have a chance to request a 14-day Plus trial if you want to test drive some of the Plus specific features. I know if you run into any questions, definitely throw them into the Zoom chat, and please put 3 hashtags in front of your question. That'll help us find it in the chat, and Gary will either answer it along the way or we'll bring it back up at the end during the Q&A section because we think it's a really good question and want to talk about it broadly with everyone. With that, let's go ahead and dive right in. If folks haven't been on Instrumentl a while, a little recap: we are the end-to-end platform that brings your grant prospecting, tracking, and management to one place. When we conducted an impact study last year, we found that users on Instrumentl are sending 78% more applications while also saving 3 hours per week, which we're really excited to see. Let's jump right into our very first new feature, the calendar view. This is going to be exactly what this sounds like, a single calendar view for all of your upcoming grant and task deadlines, so you know what you or your team need to work on this week. This is going to be available on our Plus, Professional, and Custom plans. Let's take a look at what this looks like in our platform. For those of us on Plus, Pro, or Custom, you'll now have a brand new tab in your tracker to the right of our year filtering that says Calendar. If you click on that calendar view, it'll immediately take you to a calendar view of all your upcoming deadlines. And there's going to be 3 types of deadlines that you see. The first one is going to be a submission goal deadline. If I open up this deadline, it'll take me to the opportunity pop-up. And the submission goal is referring to your own personal submission goal down here on that right-hand grant actions bar. The other deadlines you might see are funder deadlines. So these are going to be the actual final funder deadline that they have posted on their website. And then you will also see your own task deadlines. The tasks are any action items that I have added to this grant opportunity. For example, it looks like on August 10th, I have a task to initiate contact with this funder. If I open up this opportunity, it'll immediately take me to that task on the right-hand grant actions bar where I can either edit it, assign it to someone else, or if I've completed it, then I can check mark it complete and it will stop any future email notifications from going out about that task. Those are the 3 kinds of deadlines that you might see on your calendar view. And there are a couple different ways that you can use the calendar view. We've got these filtering options up here on the top right corner. And the filtering options will allow you to do a couple different things. The first one is you can filter by grant owner. This way, if you just wanted to see what your responsibilities are this week, it'll only show up deadlines that are assigned to grants where you're the owner. I could also filter by all my other teammates and see, what the workload is like for everyone else on my team. Maybe if I'm a director, I want to check that the workload is evenly distributed across the team. And then I can also filter by kind of task. So this is going to come into handy. If I wanted to see all of my upcoming reports due, then I could remove all of my other task deadlines, remove all my submission goals so that I can only see upcoming reporting tasks. And from here, I can see, cool, I have a Q3 report due on August 29th for this urban farming grant. So I know that was a big request, was just an easy way to see all of your upcoming reports due, and the calendar view can definitely help with that now. There is another way that you can use your calendar view, which is that you can look ahead and see what kind of funder deadlines are coming up that you haven't set an opportunity for yet. So let's take a look, and let's say we want to start planning ahead for next year. I want to see what deadlines are coming up in January. I see that on January 10th, there's a urban farming grant plan deadline due. And I actually recognize this one because this is one that I won this year, and I know I'm going to be reapplying for it next year. I can confirm that by clicking into the grant. I can see this was awarded in June of this year, and it has a next deadline for next year on January 10th, 2023. So that's why this is coming up in a dotted line. The dotted lines are showing funders where a funder deadline that's a later deadline that you don't have a submission goal for, so that you can decide if you want to pursue that funder deadline or not. Since I won this one, I know that I'm going to be pursuing it next year. So what I can do is immediately create a duplicate record and start planning for next year's proposal. All I have to do to make a duplicate record is click on these three dots in the bottom right corner, go to duplicate. Now I can assign this to next year. It's already in planned because I know I'm going to be reapplying. Maybe we want to ask for more money next year. And I can put in a personal submission goal, any notes. And once I hit save, what that's going to do is create an exact copy of this grant, but for next year. So I'll have a fresh set of fields on the right-hand side where I can add new notes, tasks, amount requesting, and I can easily toggle back to last year's record and take a look at how much I won there, what kind of application steps or documents I had put in, and easily reference all of these notes as I start to plan for next year's grant. So that there are a lot of different ways that you can use the calendar view. And just to summarize what we talked about here, you can see which of your grant deadlines are coming up by filtering to grant assigning yourself. You can see what your teammates are working on, what their workload looks like by filtering to grant assignee are your teammates. You can see all of your upcoming reports due by filtering on kind of task. And then you can also plan for next year by viewing all your upcoming funder deadlines. Those are the ones in the dotted lines, and then creating a duplicate opportunity to reapply for next year. So what we're hoping the calendar view can do here is potentially eliminate the work that you've previously done in another calendar. You now have an easier way to visualize all of your upcoming grant to-dos. You can feel more in sync with what grants your organization is working on this month. And then also plan ahead by visualizing if maybe too many grant deadlines are falling in one small time period. I could either push them back or allocate more time in my schedule so that my pipeline is more evenly distributed. The calendar view will be available on our Plus, Professional, and Custom plans. And if you are not yet on one of those plans and you'd like to play around with it, you can request a 14-day Plus trial by logging into Instrumentl and messaging us in that chat bubble. Don't worry, we will allocate some time at the end of today's workshop where you can message us about this Plus trial. So don't worry if you can't get to it right now. And that leads me to new feature number 2, which is improved deadline tracking. This is going to be an easier way for you to stay on top of those multi-step grant applications, and it'll also allow you to see notifications directly in the tracker when a funder changes their deadline. This is going to be the biggest change that we have ever made to deadlines, and everyone will get the improvement. It's available on all plans, Basic, Plus, Pro, and it's really important to pay attention because you may have some action items to take in your tracker as a result of this improvement. So I'll show you what this looks like in the platform. Let's take a look at some of my matches in my Art for Social Change project. You'll see that we have moved the single deadlines on an opportunity to the concept of a cycle. So these cycles represent separate application cycles, and where this really comes into play are those multi-step applications. We'll now be able to display them as a unit so you can super easily see all of the steps required. In this case, I can clearly see that in the current cycle, my LOI is going to be due on September 1st, 2022, but my full proposal is going to be due on October 1st, 2022. So this is an evolution of how we handle deadlines on Instrumentl, where an application cycle includes all the steps needed to submit an application. We know sometimes funders require an LOI and a pre-proposal and a full proposal. We want to make it really easy for you to know what deadlines are for what step. And because we are moving to this concept of application cycle, Instrumentl will be able to better alert you when funders change their deadline. So let's pretend to save this grant. And if I know I'm going to be going for either this cycle or a later cycle, I'm going to change my status to planned. And you'll see that now I can select which cycle I want to go for instead of a single deadline. We will automatically populate the current upcoming cycle, but you can always choose the dropdown for any later cycles if they've published any later cycles. Or if you already recognize this grant, maybe this is a grant that I actually applied to yesterday and I just didn't log it in Instrumentl yet, then you can show past cycles and select which cycle you were going for. Maybe it's one you already awarded, so you can search past and future cycles, even on your Matches tab. Now that we are on cycles, your submission goals are going to be totally optional. If you want to get in an LOI or full proposal a couple days ahead of the deadline, you want to clear it and not worry about last minute things, you can totally put in a submission goal for each step of the application, but you don't have to. It is now okay to leave them blank. And if you do leave them blank, we will just use the actual funder deadline on your tracker. So speaking of the tracker, let's take a look at what this looks like in our tracker. You'll notice that the deadline column is now going to clearly display which deadline is for which step of a multi-step application. In the case of the California Watershed Protection Fund grant, I can clearly see LOIs due August 14th, full proposal due October 7th. Because we're in August right now, this grant is showing up under August, but once we move out of August, this grant will then show up in October on my grant calendar because that's when the next proposal is. You can still click into any grant here, just like you have before, and change the cycle by scrolling down that right-hand side and choose any later cycles. Or you can also change your submission goals if you want to give yourself more time there as well. So because of this migration, for all of you that have data on your tracker already, you've been saving grants, there's going to be some action items that you'll need to complete, and I'm going to take you through that now. Your submission goals and dates have not changed. They're exactly the same, but because we made the migration, we had to make some assumptions and we tried to make it really clear to you where we need your help in selecting the right cycle. For any grants already saved to your tracker in planned, in progress, or abandoned, you may get some alerts that look like this. It's going to be a little exclamation mark in a yellow alert. And what these are representing are action items where we just want you to double check that this is the correct cycle that you are still targeting and that the submission goal looks good. So let's go through a couple examples here. One example of an action item might be to just select which application cycle you're going for. And you're going to get these alerts on any grants that are past due. These are showing up because we didn't want to make an assumption that you are still targeting this grant because you are past due your submission goal. So maybe you actually already submitted it and you just didn't update your tracker, or maybe you didn't have time to submit it and you'd rather go for a later cycle. In either one of those cases, all you have to do to get rid of the alert is choose which cycle you have or will be going for, and then update your submission goal accordingly. So that's one type of alert. It's going to be for your past due grants. The second type of alert you might see is going to be for grants where your own personal submission goal was not an exact match with the next funder's actual deadline. And in this case, we are able to make a educated guess that you are probably going for this cycle that ends on February 1st, because I had put in a submission goal of January 15th. So we auto-selected the cycle, but we still put that alert there because we want you to double check that this is the right cycle and that this is still your submission goal. So same thing here, all you have to do to get rid of that alert is confirm that this is the cycle and submission goal. And if everything already looks good here, then you can just X out of the alert and that'll make it go away. A really great new improvement that we can now offer because of application cycles is that now you will get targeted alerts in your tracker when a funder changes their deadline. So that's what it would look like on this Cohen Foundation grant. Since I have saved this grant, the funder went ahead and changed their deadline from September 30th to October 1st. By the way, this is not real. This is my test account, so the deadline did not actually change. But if they did change it, then Instrumentl will alert you directly in the tracker with this type of notification. And we have this pop up so that you can open it, you can acknowledge that the deadline has changed, and then you can also adjust your submission goal accordingly. So maybe I need to push it back or make it earlier, depending on what that new deadline is that the funder posted. So same exact thing here. To get rid of the alert, you just confirm that you are still going for which cycle here, and then update your submission goal accordingly. So in summary, all you have to do to get rid of these alerts is click into a grant on your tracker, read why that alert is there, and then update the cycle and submission goal accordingly. So because of these funder alerts on your tracker, you don't have to worry about having out-of-date data on your tracker anymore. We're going to help you keep that up to date automatically and save you the time from checking the funder's website. Previously, you did get an email when this happened, when a funder changed their deadline, but now you'll still get that email and get notified in the tracker. So you don't even have to check your inbox. You'll automatically know next time you log into Instrumentl. All right, so let's recap how we can use improved deadline tracking. You can now choose one application cycle that you're targeting, where those multi-step applications are being treated as one unit. You can optionally set personal LOI submission goals and full proposal submission goals, but you don't have to. And you will now receive targeted updates in the tracker when those funder deadlines change. That's what these alerts look like when the funder changes a deadline. So basically now you'll just see a more accurate representation of deadlines. We're grouping them into one unit. And this leads me to our third feature, Salesforce Integration. The Salesforce integration is going to be a way for you to streamline your workflow if you use both systems, because now you'll be able to sync all your saved grants and you won't have to duplicate work. You can feel confident that all your changes in Instrumentl will flow through to Salesforce, and you can use Instrumentl as your primary tracking tool. This is going to be available on our professional and custom plans. Let's take a look at what this looks like. For those on our Pro and Custom plans, you'll now see a new account setting in that bottom left account menu called Integrations. Here is where you can set up Salesforce. And the first step to syncing your data is to actually configure Salesforce. So this is going to be logging into Salesforce and then mapping funder data and mapping opportunity data. We need you to do this so that we know where to send the information from Instrumentl to the correct Salesforce fields, because we know everyone's Salesforce account looks different. You have different definitions of how you might consider a grant in researching or prospecting. So let's take a look at some of the ways that you can map your data. The fields on Instrumentl are going to be listed on that left-hand side, and the fields from your Salesforce account are on the right-hand side. For each field, you can select where you want the data on Instrumentl to go to on your Salesforce account. So for example, I'll probably want my funding opportunity name to map to my Salesforce name, but this might look different for other folks. So just make sure you select the dropdown and choose your appropriate tag. For example, with our statuses, I'll probably want researching to map to prospecting, planned to qualification, in progress to needs analysis. And you'll just want to do this with all of the required Salesforce fields in your account. And once you do this in your funding opportunity data and your funder data, you'll have a synced account. Once you have that configuration set up, it is super easy to sync each individual record to that account. Let's go through an example. And let's say that I have just found this really great new grant from Venable Foundation, due on September 1st. I'm not yet sure if my teammates have logged this in Salesforce, but I can actually check from Instrumentl. And to do that, I'll see a new button when I open up that grant on the bottom right corner that says Link to Salesforce. All I have to do to sync this record is click that button, and I can search directly from here whether it is already in my Salesforce account. So if I look up Venable Foundation, doesn't look like that's there yet. So I can actually create a brand new account directly from Instrumentl, and it'll create it in my Salesforce account. I don't even have to open up a Salesforce window. I can do it directly on Instrumentl. Same thing with the opportunity. You can either look for an existing one, and we allow this for you so that you're not accidentally duplicating work. But since I know I don't have Venable Foundation in there yet, I'm just going to create a new opportunity here as well. Once this all looks good, I can hit confirm, and that's going to sync your record directly to Salesforce. And you will have to do this individually for each record that you want synced to Salesforce. But once you sync it once, you only have to do it one time. And now that it is synced, your record in Salesforce is going to be powered by your record on Instrumentl. So that means any changes you make to your status, amounts, or submission goals will automatically get pushed through to Salesforce. Essentially, once I've synced this once, I never have to press that button again, unless the funder changes their deadline. Any changes that I make to this record will automatically flow through to Salesforce. So let's see what this looks like. I put up a test Salesforce account to show you. I have this Venable Foundation grants. I can now, let's refresh this. If I log into Salesforce, I can look up the Venable Foundation grant, and it is right here. It created that new opportunity. It's in the stage of qualification. And if I were to, for example, change the status, maybe I actually, fast forward a couple months later, I got awarded this grant. I'm going to change the status to awarded. I was awarded 15K. All I have to do is input my data on Instrumentl, and I don't even have to press this sync button again. It will automatically flow through to Salesforce. So to show you, I'm just going to refresh this page again. Now I can see that the stage has been moved to closed one on Salesforce. And I can open up this modal and see that I actually won 15K. So any changes in Instrumentl, once you have synced that record once, will automatically flow through to Salesforce. Note that the fields that will flow through when you make changes include status, amounts, and submission goals and dates, but we are not currently syncing notes or tasks. If those fields are important to you, let us know. We are continuously improving this integration, so we would love to hear your feedback. Also note that the sync is only one way, so updates in Salesforce won't flow through to Instrumentl. You'll want to make any changes directly on Instrumentl first. The other cool thing about this new integration is that if a funder changes their deadline on their website, or maybe the funder changes the name of that opportunity, then you will see an alert directly in your tracker to push that update to Salesforce. So earlier we talked about how you'll get those alerts directly on your tracker. You will also get an alert if this was a grant that you had already to sync to Salesforce, and that alert will prompt you to resync the grant so that you are aware of this change and you actually want to push that through to Salesforce. This alert only comes up when it's a non-user update, meaning it's one that the funder made, and that's why we'll ask you to review it and then resync the record. Any changes that you make will automatically sync, so you won't have to push them. What's really great is that once you've synced this record to Salesforce, we're helping you keep it up to date. We're going to let you know when you need to make an update to Salesforce. So you don't need to go to the funder's website. You don't need to keep track of that on Instrumentl. With one click, you'll know that something changed. And with another click, you can just push that update to Salesforce. So Instrumentl is trying to help you take the work out of keeping your records up to date on Salesforce, while also keeping you aware of any changes that the funder made. Couple different ways you can use this Salesforce integration. Let's say I'm a grant manager that needs my entire broader team to know what I'm working on, even if they don't have access to Instrumentl. Now I can feel confident knowing that they can view what I'm working on in terms of grants in their preferred system. For me, that means no more retyping data or exporting CSV reports to transfer information. All I have to do is sync an opportunity once, and any future updates will flow through to Salesforce. And finally, my whole team feels more organized knowing that our main CRM is kept up to date with each grant's submission goals, statuses, and amounts. A reminder that this is going to be available on our professional and custom plans. If you are already on one of these plans and you'd like to set up Salesforce, ping us in the chat bubble on Instrumentl, and we will set up a call to help you configure Salesforce. If you are not yet on Pro or Custom, but you're interested in learning more about Salesforce integration, ping us in the chat bubble on Instrumentl too, and we will send you some more details on this integration and also all the other features that our professional plan entails, so that you can take a look at what this upgrade might look like. Once again, we will circle back to this at the end and allocate some time for you guys to send us those messages, so don't worry if you can't get to it right now. Right now, we're going to launch into our fourth feature, but certainly not least, consultant plans. Consultant plans are going to help you as a freelance grant writer or consultant stay more organized with multiple clients on Instrumentl. And if you've been logging into another nonprofit subscription, you can now link separate subscriptions under one login. There are two main changes on the consultant plans. The first is when you're working with clients who do not have their own Instrumentl subscription. So you're managing grants in your own personal account for them. And the biggest thing here is that now you can set up client profiles that detail each client's fiscal year and location. So if I had two clients, Greener America and Alliance to End Homelessness, now I can detail each of their home bases and their fiscal years. By the way, this is going to be available on all plans, basic plus professional and consultant, custom. So what this means, to show you what was previously happening, is you were previously putting in all of the, listing all of your clients' physical locations under one single organization profile. And you could also only specify one fiscal year for all your projects. But once you create client profiles, it will actually make your opportunity matches more accurate because they'll be generated using only that particular client's location. So what this means is you will never, once again, see a bad match that's requiring your client to be based in some obscure location that they're not actually based. You should only be getting good matches where the client is actually eligible location-wise. You will also be able to view any reports and trackers in the fiscal year of that client because of the new customization that client profiles allow you. The next big change to the consultant plans will be really helpful to any of you working with nonprofits who have their own Instrumentl subscription. So maybe previously you were logging into their account with a different set of credentials than your own Instrumentl account. But once you're on a consultant plan, you'll be able to link those multiple accounts under one single login. And when you do that, you'll get a banner at the top of your homepage that'll allow you to easily switch back and forth between multiple different clients. And combining and linking them under one login does not combine any data. They're still totally separate accounts and subscriptions. It is just allowing you to jump back and forth between those accounts using the same login credentials. If you are wondering whether you should be switching to a consultant plan, we recommend yes, if you are managing grants for multiple nonprofits on Instrumentl, or maybe you're just working with one client now, but you plan to add more clients in the future. Or maybe you're a consultant managing grants for client A in my own personal account, but I'm also logging into another nonprofit's Instrumentl account to manage their grants. And this would be a very helpful switch for you because you can link those accounts under one login. I did a deep dive webinar on how to migrate your account, and Gary is going to send a link in the Zoom chat with more information. This is going to be a Help Center article that tells you more about consultant plans. And at the end of that article, there's going to be a link to the deep dive webinar that I hosted that just goes into much more detail and also shows you step-by-step how to convert your account. So how can I, oh, by the way, there are no extra costs to consultant plans. If you make the switch, you'll pay exactly the same subscription cost. So it's not really another tier so much as it is another version of all of our other plans. So we have a consultant version of basic, consultant version of plus, and a consultant version of professional. If you make the switch, all your account data will stay the same and you will only get the added new features and benefits. So Gary went ahead and posted that link in the Zoom chat. Feel free to check it out for more information. To recap how you can use consultant plans, you'll be able to get better location matches by setting up your client profiles. This way, your recommendations are only using that client profile to get you more geographically relevant grants. You can impress your clients with more professional looking reports because any PDF and Excel reports will be outlined in your client's respective fiscal year. And you will be able to streamline your workflow by easily switching between the nonprofit accounts that you're consulting for. No more logging in and out of multiple accounts. There is a bonus feature about these new consultant plans, which is if all your clients set up their own Instrumentl subscription, then you can technically toggle between all of those accounts using that banner, and you yourself can use Instrumentl for free. That is because your clients are paying for their own subscription. There's a lot of other benefits to your clients owning their own subscription. One is organized ownership of data. If by any chance your contract ever ends in the future, the client will easily be able to retain all of their own grant data because they have their own subscription. You will be able to greatly increase collaboration on grants with your clients because when they have their own subscription, they'll have their own login information and they can log in, add their own notes and tasks directly to the tracker. So maybe you've been prospecting for them and you want them to take a look and weed out grants that aren't actually a good fit. They can go in directly to Instrumentl and hide things from the matches or remove things from the tracker themselves. The client will also be able to add their own colleagues as users to the account because they own the user seats, and because it's their own subscription, everyone on that account will only be able to see the data for their organization. And that leads me to the last big benefit, which is increased data privacy. You won't ever risk a client seeing another client's projects because they're kept in separate subscriptions. All righty. That was a lot of information. Let's go through a little recap of the 4 new improvements. These are the 4 new features and the plans that they are available on. The calendar view will allow you to see all of your upcoming submission goals, funder deadlines, and task deadlines in one glance. You will be able to filter by grant owner, see all your responsibilities this week or your teammates' workload, make sure it's evenly distributed. You can also filter by kind of task and just pull up all of your upcoming reports due on that calendar. With improved deadline tracking, we are now treating multi-step applications as cycles. So you will be able to select which cycle you are going for. And you can optionally set submission goals for each of those steps, but you don't have to. It's now okay to leave them blank. And the biggest and most exciting new improvement with our cycles is you can get notified directly in your tracker if a funder changes their deadline. The notification is going to look like this, and this will allow you to automatically keep your tracker up to date without checking the funder's website or even your own inbox. With the new Salesforce integration, you'll be able to sync your saved grants, so any changes on Instrumentl automatically flow through to Salesforce. And because we have those cycles now, you'll get alerted if a funder changes their deadline. And if it was a record that you had already synced to Salesforce, you'll be able to acknowledge that change and push it to Salesforce in one click so that everything in Salesforce is automatically kept up to date and powered by Instrumentl. With our new consultant plans, you'll be able to detail each client's headquarters and get better location matches. And within those client profiles, you can set up their own fiscal years, which will better design that project's tracker and reports in their fiscal year. So you'll be able to send much more professional reports. If you have been logging into a nonprofit subscription, you can now link that client's account to your own personal account and avoid using separate login credentials, and toggle between accounts with this banner that shows up at the top. All right, we are going to spend the next 1 to 2 minutes here for you to request a 14-day plus trial if you wanted to play around with the calendar view. So open up Instrumentl and send us a message through the chat bubble. Just say, hey, I'm wanting a 14-day plus trial. It doesn't have to be a long message. And not only will you get the calendar view, you will also get all the other features that plus trial comes with, including our advanced funder 990 insights. These include really great insights such as an openness to new grantees, their top funding categories, trends in their median giving amounts over the years. You'll also get foundation discovery, which you might also hear me refer to as funder matches. And this is a whole new set of matches where the funder has not posted a public opportunity online, or they don't even have a website. But because we have their 990 data, we can tell if they've given to your cause areas and your locations, so we can still match you to those under the radar foundations that also might be the smaller family foundations that are a little harder to discover. You'll also get recipient profiles. This is that reverse search ability where you can look up a nonprofit similar to yours and see who has funded them. Calendar view, which we talked about. And then grant ownership, you'll be able to assign grants in your tracker to any owner and clarify who is responsible for leading that opportunity. So the 14-day plus trial includes all of this. Even if you don't want it right now, you can message us at any time and let us know when you want to start that trial. If you are interested in learning more about our professional plans, this is also a good time to send us a message in the chat bubble. If you are not already on the professional plan and you just want to learn more about Salesforce integration and everything else that would come with that upgrade, it would come with 50 projects, personalized customer support and training for every member on your team, and then that Salesforce integration. So send us a message if you want more information on the Pro plan, if you want to start a 14-day plus trial. And by the way, if you are on the professional plan and you do want to set up Salesforce, we are happy to set up a one-on-one call and help you set up that configuration. Just make sure all the fields are mapped up correctly. So you can also use this time to send us a message in the chat bubble. I'm going to give folks 30 seconds here to shoot us a message.
One more thing I wanted to mention as you are considering whether or not to try the Plus or Pro plans is we actually just launched a guarantee, which you can see on your pricing page. So we're so confident that we're adding a ton of really helpful things on those plans, and if it's a good If you think it might be a good fit for you, but you're kind of on the fence, if you try it out and you decide it's not a good fit and you want to downgrade back to your original plan, we'll actually credit you back the difference. So you can try it totally risk-free.
Awesome. Thanks, Gary. And don't worry if you can't get to sending us the message right now. You have until the end of time to request this trial whenever is a good fit for you. So let's talk about some super special summer discounts. If you are enjoying your Plus trial and you want to upgrade, you can save $400 off of our annual Plus plan with the code SUMMERANNUAL22. You can also decide to go month to month on the Plus plan and still save $50 off of your first month. Note that both of these discounts do expire on August 31st. So if you are considering the Plus trial, might be a good idea to start that early on, test drive it, and then have an idea of whether you want to upgrade and then use those discounts if it looks good. All right, let's talk about some frequently asked questions. Do the summer discount offers extend into future years? They are one-time discounts. So it is the annual one is for your first year, and then the monthly one is for your first month. By the way, if you are interested in upgrading to the professional plan, we do have discounts on the professional annual plan. Message us and we can give you more information there as well. I know a lot of you are wondering if calendar integrations will be available. Those are coming up really soon. I hear about GCal and Outlook a lot, so we'll have more for you there in the next couple months. Can I get a trial of the Pro plan to test out Salesforce integration? We are not currently offering professional trials because of the commitment required to configure Salesforce, but we're happy to give you more information. Reach out to us, and if you decide you want to upgrade, then we can definitely help you set up that integration. If I upgrade to the Plus or Professional plan before my renewal date, how does that affect my price? You will only pay a prorated amount based on the time left in your remaining billing cycle, so you're not double paying for anything. For example, if I have just renewed my basic annual plan, but I really like my Plus trial and I want to upgrade next week, you can totally do that, and everything that you have just paid for basic will be going towards your upgrade. So not double paying. And then if you ever want to view the pricing for our Plus and Professional plans, you can do so at any time when you're logged in by navigating to instrumentl.com/pricing. All right, let's talk about some questions from the audience. Gary, hit me.
Okay, awesome. So we have some questions about cycles. The first question is from Beth. What do we do if the alert that's showing up on our tracker is for an abandoned proposal that we don't plan to submit under future cycles? What are some tips there?
That you don't plan to submit for future cycle. Okay, so I would say if there is a grant that is no longer a good fit, you don't think you're ever going to apply for it in the future, I would actually recommend removing it from your tracker completely. And you can do that by opening up the grant, hitting more options, and then remove from tracker. And the reason we recommend this is because anything that's left and abandoned will stay on your tracker and it'll still show up in your deadline digest emails. So I actually recommend using abandoned when you started to go for a grant, but then you abandoned the application. Maybe you didn't have time for it, but you still consider it a good fit and you might still apply for it in the future. That would be a good case to leave it in abandoned. But if you decide it is not a good fit, you're never going to apply to it in the future, then I recommend removing it from your tracker.
And one other thing I'll mention is that if you do have something that you want to keep in the tracker that's in the abandoned status, you can select a past cycle. So if you did just want to log the historical cycle that you were pursuing for it, you can, there will be a link there that says show past cycle. So you can at least kind of indicate which one it was going to be for. And then it will just kind of have that information stored in there properly. All right, another question on cycle from David. Can you add cycles for grants that are not already in Instrumentl? So meaning for like a grant that you add yourself.
Yeah, let's go through an example. let's say that, let's see, there's a couple different cases here. If you find the opportunity in our quick find and you hit save, then that opportunity will have the ability to select application cycles. But if you wanted to create a new opportunity that didn't yet exist, maybe you got invited to it, then you can add your name here, add it as a new grant. And you won't be able to add cycles here because you'll be adding your own opportunity deadline, because we don't actually know what the cycle is, because this was never a grant that got published online.
It is something, it's noted that it could be helpful for you to have more flexibility in the ways that you enter the deadlines to mirror the way that Instrumentl keeps track of application cycles with a separate LOI deadline and a separate full proposal deadline. So that's logged as a feature request. Thank you. Another question not related to cycles is about downloading opportunity profiles and funder profiles as an external sheet from Cecilia. So I think it'd be helpful to just cover the ways in which you can download a PDF version of the funding opportunity and funder record.
Yeah, definitely. You can download a PDF from your matches or from the quick find. So let's go through an example in my matches. Anytime you see this download button, that means this is a downloadable funding opportunity. So I can click that. And what it's going to do is download the opportunity, and I can open it up directly from my desktop. This is going to include everything that the funder has posted on their website. And you can send this link directly to anyone, even if they don't have an Instrumentl account. They'll be able to open up the link, view this opportunity. They can even open up a live page to our website. You can also download any Funder 990 reports. That's going to be on the Funder 990 tab. There'll be a button right under that Funder 990 tab, the download icon. I can download that PDF, and what it's going to do is download everything on this tab. So you have downloadable opportunities, downloadable 990 reports. And same thing, those links are ones that you can share with any team members, and it's going to bring up a summary of the insights that we have on that 990. By the way, this table on past grantees is downloadable as well. You would do that directly from the 990 section. There's another download button right here on past grantees. Did that answer the question, Gary?
Yes, it did. Okay, great. I think we actually are, I got through a lot of the questions in the chat, a lot of questions around integrations with other CRMs and project management tools, integrations. We're basically like we're kind of breaking the seal of integrations with Salesforce. And so integrations are much more on our mind. We'll be following up with the calendar integrations next and hope to be adding more integrations shortly after. Got another question from Virginia here about wanting to understand how often funder information is updated, so the 990 information.
Yeah, the 990 information is updated as soon as the IRS has published the next 990 from the private foundation. Usually there's some lag time between when the funder submits their 990, the IRS processes it, and then the time to actually publish it. But as soon as they publish it, we automatically sync it to Instrumentl. And then private foundations update their 990s every year.
Awesome. We got another question from G. Gray. On the calendar, when you duplicated the event for the urban grant, did that change the dotted line of the January 2023 calendar reminder, as well as add a calendar reminder for January 2024? Maybe you can just kind of go through that in more detail.
Yeah, great question. So because I created a duplicate opportunity, it changed it. It added a submission goal. So anytime I create a new opportunity, I add my submission goal. I'll now have the hard line on January 10th, but we still have the dotted line here as well. So essentially, Anytime you see something that's not in a dotted line, it means that you have created that new opportunity. But when you do see the dotted line, that could be a good indication to click into it and see if this is one that you do want to create a duplicate opportunity for.
Awesome. In terms of linking cycle data to Salesforce, Kevin had a question on that. Kevin, I believe you are not going to see that unless you're on the, you're not going to see that directly unless you're on the Pro plan. Okay, awesome. Cecilia, I got another question from Cecilia. Is there a way to filter out state federal grants?
Yeah, in your matches, you guys have a lot of filtering options. It's going to be that filter drop down directly under your funding opportunity matches. And under funder type, you can filter out government grants by checking everything except government. So I just want to see corporate, association, and private foundations. And now it's going to filter all government grants. And we do have the, the distinction between federal government and then state local government. So if you just wanted to filter out federal, but keep the state local ones, then you can do that too.
Awesome. We have some requests for a how-to manual for all features.
Yeah, you guys can find a lot of how-to manuals in our help center. It's going to be right under our document library on the bottom left corner. It's going to have a little question mark. If you open that up, there are two types of resources. These are grant writing resources. It's going to take you to our blog. And then what you're looking for are going to be our help articles. And this is categorizing a bunch of how-to manuals. So if you just want a quick start, maybe you're new to Instrumentl, if you want to learn more about how projects work, how the grant tracker works, our funders, billing. So definitely check out our help center here. And then if you do run into any questions, reading those articles, or maybe it's not covered there, then you can shoot us a message in the chat bubble in your account that's on the bottom right corner, and we can get back to you.
Awesome. And in the help center, Amelie, could you just point out the summer 2022 launch? There's detailed help center articles on each of the features that we talked about today, so you can always review them there. Mm-hmm. And in the what is Instrumentl, there's a detailed video tour of all of the functionality. So if you have a new team member join, you can always have them review that video. It's a 1 hour long video that will give a run through of everything. And then Amelie also does a onboarding session for new folks, for new customers, and new team members on existing subscriptions are also welcome to join. Yeah, Amelie, if you can share a link to that in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our customer events page. Let me zoom in so you guys can see what this looks like. I'm going to post the link to this in the Zoom chat right now. You and any of your team members can check out this event page for all of our upcoming workshops, customer events. Right now, we have another August 8th workshop just like today's. So it's going to happen next Monday. If you didn't have if you had teammates that couldn't make today and they want to attend a live version, have them sign up for Monday. And then these are going to be our partner grant writing workshops that my colleague Will hosts. They're really great workshops on institutional fundraising as a whole, and they're super engaging. And then this new customer training is the weekly new customer onboarding that I host on Tuesdays. So if you ever have new team members join and they just want to get an onboarding of Instrumentl, have them join the new customer training.
Yeah, or if you haven't used Instrumentl in a while and you want a deep dive to get back in, that's a good place to start as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I don't think I have any other questions yet. I can give it another couple of seconds here, see if any last minute ones pop up. Awesome. Seems like we're good on questions, Amelie.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for staying on the whole time. It was a pleasure having all of you. We are super, super excited to have you experience all the new features. Wanted to cover a couple last minute action items. Just a reminder to go through any deadline alerts in your tracker. You can filter for those alerts by changing your status column to planned, in progress, and abandoned. So the alerts are going to look like this. And then if you haven't done so already, shoot us a message in the chat bubble if you want more info on consultant plans, on pro plans, Salesforce integration, or you want to get that 14-day plus trial. We're really excited for you to experience all the new features. If you run into any questions whatsoever, reach out to us through the chat bubble, and remember to jot down that summer annual discount code. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a good rest of your week and weekend.
Thanks all.